evening, welcome to Leicester Fan TV. It's Monday night and we are getting very, very close to the football season starting. So get your views in, get your comments in, and welcome to this week's Fanzone Show. Yes, good evening. Welcome to Jamie's watching. Hi, how are you, Jamie? Get your views in, get your comments in. Are you excited, Jamie? I know we are getting very excited here. We can finally start to talk about some football. Matty's watching. Hi, Matty Bond. How are you? Hope you're well. Where are you today, Matty? Let us know. Maz is watching. Hi, Maz. Simon, how are you? Simon Gibson, how are you? You've been chatting with Don recently. Mark Charles, hope you're well. Good to see you. Good evening, fellow Foxes, says Mark Charles. Julie's watching as well. Good evening, Julie. Where are you in the world cheering Leicester on? Let us know. Marius, I want to know from Goa. There we go. There's our first far-flung Fox. And here's another one. It is Mirko watching in Holland, aren't you, Mirko? I hope you're well. Dave Felstead, come on, get your. We can do score predictions finally. Oh, my God. Score predictions, get them in. Andy Meadow says he's buzzing. And Mark Charles straight in with a dig about Ben Chilwell. Mark, if you want to talk about Ben Chilwell, we will do. But listen, keep getting your views in, get your comments in. I'll get as many of those up on screen as I can possibly. I'm joined as ever by Tom tonight and also Liam. And we're going to be talking lots of Leicester City. So get your questions in, get your comments in. And good evening to you, Tom.
Good evening. You all right, Phil? All right, everyone? Hope we're keeping well.
I'm rather excited. How about you, Liam?
Yeah, it's looking forward to getting back to some football and some form of normality. Some form of normality.
Yeah, Liam, let's start with you. Liam, you are from Memphis Charity, yes, which we'll come on to in a bit, Liam. And we're pleased to be working with you guys now here at Leicester Fan TV. But Liam, sticking with the football to start with, what is it going to be like in the King Power Stadium on Saturday? I'm going to say Saturday. It's Vicarage Road, of course.
It's gonna be a strange one, isn't it? It's going to be I think the first couple of games is going to be getting used to what that atmosphere or non-atmosphere is going to be like. We've had a couple of conversations about it and looking at how they can create an artificial atmosphere, but it's going to be difficult. But I think the important thing is that we're back out and we're finished this season on a high. Really, I think that's got to be the big thing now is getting the job done.
Yeah. Tom, and I'll ask this to Liam in a minute. There's been talk of cardboard cutouts, piped-in noises. What do you think Saturday is going to be like? For 2 points of view. Firstly, for the fans sat at home, and secondly, for the players in that stadium.
On the first point for the fans at home, yeah, it's going to be a strange one. You know, we're all going to be armchair fans, as I heard on TalkSport the other day. But you know what, we are going to be armchair fans for the first time ever. If you don't go to the away games, or even if we were at home to King Power, it's going to be a strange one not actually being in that ground and watching from the telly. Second one for the players, see, you know, they're used to having that vocal atmosphere in the home end, you know, from the boys, especially on the away ends. You know, the fans make such a noise at the away games. So I think this weekend it will be an interesting game for both sets of players. I know we've had a few behind closed door games against Villa, you know, to build up for this game at the week on Saturday. But it will be strange for lads to run out of ground with an empty stadium and be able to hear each other, because that's one thing you don't hear. You don't hear the talking on a pitch, where I think you will hear it at the weekend.
Yeah, Ross says even though it's behind closed doors, it's great to see the football back. He's predicting Leicester to win 2-1. Sean is saying we're going to need some sort of crowd noise to cut out the volume of the players swearing here and there, which I guess is true. Jamie's saying, what do we think to being linked with the Brentford winger, which is transfer talk? Tom, I hadn't heard any of that. Had you?
It's one we were linked for before January. Yeah, good little player. Again, it depends where the ambition of the club is. Are we going to keep going down the youth rank like we did with Madison and hope we pick another gem up for the Championship? What's always possible, but if you want to be pushing in, top four in the Champions League, then you've got to be going to sign a little bit more better quality than a Championship player.
Liam, coming back to what might happen at the King Power, which is obviously next Tuesday when we play Brighton. Myself and you were in a bit of a fans forum video last week, weren't we? Or was it the week before with the club?
Yeah,
And
a couple of weeks ago, yeah.
I can't give too much away, obviously, of what was in there, but I haven't heard anything particular coming out from that as a direction any of the clubs are going in. Have you?
No, I think the leads coming from the Premier League. I think the Premier League are taking up a majority of the grounds with some kind of covering to, one, prevent the ball going missing, because with no ball boys, I think they're trying to put something up that prevents it from going too far and too much time being taken. But it was an interesting conversation, and a lot came from the club. Like I say, can't go into too much detail, but that they are taking on board. They were speaking to the fans when we spoke to them, and then they were speaking to the players the next day to see what the players wanted. But I think they are as much in the dark as we are at the moment, and I think that's why I said earlier the first two games will get a feel for what it's going to be like, and I think taking the Bundesliga for instance, they've made some changes as things have gone along to improve it, but like you're never going to get the atmosphere that we've had before. So
I think I've watched around the world what people have been doing. Obviously, we've talked about the cardboard cutouts, piped in noise. I saw one team had it obviously cost a lot of money. They'd built a virtual stand of fans. I don't know if you two have seen it. Put up some ginormous digital screens down the side of one side of the stands, and then had fans literally piped in there via Zoom, and the players could see them. The players were going up when they scored and reacted with them, Tom.
Yeah, I had seen that film. It was quite impressive that they'd spent all that money getting the Zoom live feature to the ground. I mean, it is something that we'd love to do, but it's got to cost the money, and I don't think the club have got the time to sort that kind of thing out. I think whoever sorted that out, it must have spent quite a bit of time from lockdown knowing that when it restarted, they were going to try and do something like that. Look, it is a weird atmosphere. It's not the best. We all want to be at the ground, but for safety reasons, we all know at the moment it's not the best thing to do. Let's just hope that we can get the end of the season done, finish in the top four. What's still there to be done. Still work to do with the games we've got. Some tough games we've got to play. There's still, and then we can look forward to next season. And hopefully, there's talk of October, November time that the grounds will be reopened and fans can get back in again. I mean, I think there's talk about second week of September for the season to restart the next football season. So it's not far off. Let's just hope by October we're back in there supporting the boys.
Liam, listen, we can carry on talking about this, but we can also talk about who do you think might play, what sort of team is it going to be, because we can actually talk about players playing on the pitch, can't we? So we can forget all that piped-in crowd stuff. It is going to happen or it isn't going to happen. Let's get back onto the real stuff. Jamie Vardy needs to get back and find. It's going to be a weird mini-season, isn't it? This 9 games, Liam. What do you think Leicester could do, and how do you think we could do it?
I think you're going to see across the board with the Premier League, but is a variety of players with so many games so close together. I think we've got to start the strongest team we possibly can. I don't know if Ricardo is going to be back at any point. If it doesn't look like it, but you've got to go out strong and then see as things go along. I think having more subs on the bench as well gives you more options. It's what there's a few youth lads coming through as well that will get an option on the bench. So it's all bright in what we've got. There's not too much missing, and we've got to go as strongly as we can because we've got to keep ahead of Chelsea and the pack that coming behind it because it's up to us.
Tom, do you think? I mean, Liam's just hinted there. 5 subs. It's like a new tactic for managers to play with, isn't it? Do you bring somebody on towards the end of the first half now? You really can have some impact with 5 subs. Something none of us have ever really seen, apart from in friendlies, where it's never the same, is it, Tom? What's your thoughts on that?
The 5 subs is massive. But again, I don't think you use them too early because you can unsettle the balance of the team that you pick. For me, you go with your best 11. Look. Ricardo probably won't play between now and the end of the season. What would be a shame because he's been brilliant. But I saw enough in James Justin against Villa to say that kid's got something about him to play. Considering he played left back, he's not his normal position. I know he's played there for Luton and everything like that, and he has got a left foot. He's naturally right-footed. He did a really good job on that left-hand side. Helped set one of the goals up. We got the penalty for Barnes in little 1-2s. Looked very confident on the ball. So we're quite happy with the right-back position. Centre half, he picks himself. He ain't going to change the team too much than what that team against Villa for me. The subs, though, yes, it does come into play. And with the subs we've got and the pace in that team, players to coming off the bench, it's going to open the games up for us more than it will some other teams who have got bigger squads, got a lot of defensive players. We are lucky we've got a lot of offensive players, Nacho, Gray. I mean, Gray's not featured, but it gives him an option to get some more game time now that he's allowed to make 5 subs. And if you think about it, it means you can say to the likes of Barnes, Albrighton, run your socks off for 40, 50 minutes because we can make, we've got extra subs to make now. We haven't got to worry about, well, we've only got 3 subs, so we've got to keep one in case someone gets injured. Madison, run your socks off into the ground. We can then bring you off and bring someone else on. The options are there with us. We've got such a big squad when it comes to those, offensive option going forward that it's going to be massive for us, push to the end of the season with all the players.
Carl's asking Liam about this. Do you think the 5 subs could actually benefit the bigger teams, i.e., the people who've got more quality and depth in their squads? Which I sort of say Leicester could be one of those teams, but will it potentially suit the big so-called big teams? Liam, do you think?
I think it's bound to. Where the money is where the players. You look at Man City, they could if it was 11 subs, they could bring a whole new team in and still fit out a decent quality side. But we've got to go with what we've got, and if it is going to be an advantage to the big clubs, then we've got to look at different ways of playing that. It's just going to be a new tactic for the rest of the season. It's a 9-game season now, and it's a mini season to run for. So you've got to go with what you've got.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Sean here has put in his starting 11, which I think is not too far off it, Tom. He's put Casper, obviously, James Justin, Sonko Evans, Chilwell, Ndidi. Chowdhury, I guess, could be a question mark, whether it would be Chowdhury and Ndidi, a bit defensive possibly. Barnes, Madison, Vardy, I would say, are going to be in. But it's two picks there, Tom. Chowdhury and Albrighton. Big fan of Albrighton. I'd have him in there, but I don't think that's good.
I personally don't see how you can drop Albrighton from his performance against Villa. 2 assists, very good assist in that game.
I forgot, Tom, it's that long ago.
And then you look at Chowdhury. Look, I love Chowdhury, and he's going to be some player that boy can play. His defensive work, he's got to work on his passing. That's probably the one thing that lets him down. But at the moment, come on. I mean, for me, I think Dennis Pratt walks into the team and Tielemans isn't far behind him. I mean, but Tielemans is getting a lot of stick for me, and it's unfair stick. Yes, he hasn't shown the quality he did in his loan spell. But if you look at his stats, he's set his goals up. I think he's on 9 assists, 10 assists nearly this season. He set 2 up against Chelsea at home the game before Villa. So he's not having a bad season. He's just not having that season that we all thought he'd come in and being a well beater. And do you know what? He's a young man. He's got a lot to learn still that standards are set, that he's got to keep those standards. And I think we've seen with Brendan, when he's not having the best of times, he isn't scared to drop him. And Tielemans even said he prefers if someone's being honest and say, you're not playing well enough, you're going to be pulled. Because in some ways, Tielemans then come back stronger and fights for his place. But at the moment, Dennis Pratt is just, for me, he's up there with player of the season. People can laugh at that. But every time he plays, he has a 9 out of 10 game for me. I don't think I've ever seen him anywhere below 8 out of 10. His standards are so high and his work rate, for me, he's been one of the signings of the summer for a player. The money we've spent, was it 18 million? So not that for a player we didn't really know little about, and there was other clubs after him. He's a good little player to have in the squad, and next season it'll be massive if we get Champions League football to have all these players firing in all cylinders.
Liam, do you think Dennis Pratt, going off what Tom's saying there, do you think Dennis Pratt is a bit like Mark Albrighton, a bit of an unsung hero, and yet you get the glamour players like Youri Tielemans, James Maddison, who take all the glamour and credit?
I think that's it. He's not a glamour player. He'll get in there and do a job. And you need players like that. It's key to what they need, the side needs. You've got your Madisons, your Vardys, the more spectacular players, but you need someone that's just going to do a job, and he does a job. And he does a job well. So I think, like you say, with Albrighton, when he's played, he does a job and he does it to a high standard, and that's what you need. You look at the thing with playing Chowdhury. Again, you've got the options of, if we start attacking, if we get into a position where we can bring in and put in Ndidi and Chowdhury in with 5 subs, you can do that. And if it doesn't work, you can change it again. That's another advantage that we've got. So,
Rudy's putting here, Tom. He's watching from Cyprus. Good evening, Rudy. Hope it's nice and warm there. But he says, looking forward to Saturday's game. We need a strong start. It is a bit like the season starting all over again, but there's so short time to recover. You don't want to be that team who goes into a bad start to it, Tom, do you? You want to go in flying.
Like I say, for me, these games have got to be played like a cup final. Every single one of them has to be played like a cup final. Leave everything out there, because we're not going to get a second chance to get Champions League football. You know, it's 9 games. It's pick the points up as quick as you can to make sure we're mathematically clear of everyone else. Then, you know, take your foot off the gas if you need to and concentrate on the FA Cup. I mean, there is one point in it. Let me just find it, Phil. Click on it. There we go.
Go on.
The one, if it'll come up. Even, you know, Perez has a point to prove. I don't think Perez has shown as much as he can do this season. He's been all right at times. I think he's on 9 goals now, is it? Or something like that, 5 to 6 assists in the league. But his look best is when he's played that number 10 role. And that's what I mean, the 5 subs coming into play. Even if he doesn't start, you've got that option of bringing off Maddison if he ran himself into the ground. And I love Maddison to bits. But every single game, it seems to get to about 80 minutes and he just seems to fade off. And that's maybe fitness or just maybe he puts that much into a game that he can't, you know, last the full 90. People like Perez, he got opportunities then, 10 minutes to go, is come on and try and make something happen. He looks better as a number 10 than he does out wide, where he's got to try and make something happen. He gets the ball into feet. The West Ham game away was proven that he set 2 goals up by being in and around the box and helping the play build.
I think Perez's stats are quite healthy, Liam, if you look at him as a stat basing. But from a fan's point of view, in the stands, I know personally I watch Perez and he frustrates me at times because I'm still waiting to see him be consistent and always be reliably a decent. This is why I like Albrighton, because he always gives you an 8 out of 10 performance. It's never outstanding, but it's never anything much below a 7 or 8. But Perez, sometimes I could give him a 2 or a 3, but on his day, he could get 10, Liam.
I think that's the thing. You look at it and you talk about the Newcastle fans had the same thing. He was inconsistent, but when he was on it, he was on it, and when he wasn't, he wasn't. But it's when he's going to be on it. That's the thing. And would I start him? Probably not. But like Tom says, you've got options off the bench, and if he's going to go all out for 10 minutes, then we play him in that chance, and we bring him on for 10 minutes, and we give him a pop, and then you're going to see it that he'll probably be on the bench for one game and start the next because the turnaround's so quick that. But like he's got to hit the ground running no matter if he starts or comes off the bench. He's got to be more consistent. And why you've got 9-game run, you've got to have those consistent players in. And if it's going to be a place of putting Albrighton in, and he's going to be consistent, you've got to start with someone that's more consistent on a regular basis. So.
Tom, there's been talk, and I don't want to get into it because we want to concentrate on the league, but there has been talk about transfer rumours, a lot of Chilwell talk, a lot of this, and I'm surprised there hasn't been much Maddison talk yet, which I'm quite pleased about, but it's going to come, if you ask me. Do you think this mini-season, do you think some players are going to see it as a shop window? Do you think some players are going to be a little bit ginger? Do you know what I mean? Is it going to affect things?
Obviously, you know, speculation. When we've got such a young, healthy squad, we're always going to have people being linked with other teams. The Chilwell one, look, again, it's one of those. You only want players at the football club who want to be at the football club. I've seen reports saying he wants to go to Chelsea. He wants this. Bit like Maguire last year. If he wants to go, as long as the money's there, let him go. We're proving that we can find replacements for these players. And if someone offers you 80 million, you're not going to turn it down. But I also think some of the fans have to blame towards, the Chilwell wanting to leave. I mean, much as he says he sticks up for them, the fans are brilliant. God, I mean, the amount of times we've sat in the home end and heard the fans groaning him when he makes a mistake and getting on his back. The boy's 21, 22. What do you think? He thinks, what's the point of playing here if the crowd are on my back every time I make a single mistake? I understand the highly played players, but in football, people make mistakes. It happens. I think the fans, sometimes will take a bit more responsibility for themselves in getting on players back. We're quick enough to say, well, get rid of him. He's an England international. Yes, he's defensively. He can be poor. I'm not saying he's the best defender. He's not Christian Fuchs. He's not naturally defensive. But watch him go forward when he gets the ball. He can make stuff happen. We've seen it happen. It's just, he's just having a season where he's hit the high at the beginning, and then he seemed to fade after Christmas quite dramatically. But everyone's quick enough when Fuchs come in. We understand what Fuchs gives you. He gives you that, solid defence, but he doesn't give you the going forward option anymore because his legs hasn't really got that in them.
Liam, do you think potentially Ben Chilwell, I'd like to know your views on Ben Chilwell, but do you think if the stands are empty, then there's perhaps less pressure and he can perhaps relax down into his game, Liam?
I think the big thing with Chilwell is his confidence. I think when he has he's fell off massively because his confidence has gone, and Brendan's tried to bring that confidence back and boost him up. But like Tom says, we have to take a little bit of responsibility. as a fan base, we're eager when he was coming through, and he must be doing something right because he's an England regular, and you don't get linked with Man City and Chelsea if you've not got something about you. Yeah, he has off games, but he's a young lad. I think the thing about this squad is that we've got a very, very young squad, and they're going to have off days. But the good thing about it again is if he does go, then we've got James Justin, we've got Christian Fuchs still at the club, and he's likely to stay. I think it's going to be one out again. I think in the summer it's going to be one big out, like it has been regularly throughout this. It's get as much money as we can, and if like Tom said, if a player doesn't want to be at the club, then that's it. They want to move on for whatever their reasons are. It's a short career. Let them get on with it. He does a job, and if he wants to go and do it somewhere else, then fair play.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of fans would agree with you, especially like the Harry Maguire thing has shown us, and even Riyad Mahrez. You get enough money, you can move on and we can keep building. Mark Charles is a massive Ben Chilwell fan. I'm only kidding, Mark. I know you can't stand him. Says, Chilwell, go now. Absolute rubbish. I'm always going to argue about that, Mark, because I think he is a good talent and a young prospect, like we're saying. But I would probably gladly take anything over 55, 60 million and move on, Tom.
Yeah, but I was just going to say, we talk about Chilwell, he gets some sick, but come on, Jamari Gray, for me, he's been at the football club 4.5 years. We're going to talk about rubbish. We talk about a player we're paying 55 grand a week for, who barely plays a game for this football club anymore, who came in with potential and has never developed. I've never seen him get better. I think you've seen glimpses of what we can do. We saw that with the goal at Man United away when he saw one in the top corner. The game against Everton at home when Puel first came in, he had a blind of that game. We suddenly thought, we might get a manager who can get the best out of him. But every time you see one good game, the next 6 are absolutely dire. And you're thinking, what's going on? Why can this lad who has so much potential in him not get a run of games together to show what he can do? We're going to talk get rid of players. Let's offload Damari Gray to cut the wage bill down. Because for me, 55,000 a week he's on. It's beggars belief for why we're paying that kind of money to a talent. Doesn't really want to be here by the looks of it. His body language never really shows you of a player that committed to playing anymore with us. So they're the kind of players we need to offload. Let's remember this summer is going to be massive. This football club with Champions League. We made a right mess last time with Champions League football, gone by players Slimani, Musa. We brought in the wrong talent. We should have gone when I said at the time the players we should have brought in were players with Premier League experience, a bit of Champions League experience about them, and try and build there. This year, if we get Champions League, we can't muck it up for a second time by going out and buying players we've never heard of. And you've got to go and get the right calibre of play if you want to progress higher up the league. Because if we get that third, fourth spot, we're going to be expected to challenge that for the next few years. The Leicester fans will expect. So you've got to get the right calibre of player in to keep up those standards. And if you look at it, King's going to go, Gray's going to go, Fuchs, I hope will stay one more year. Hopefully get another season out of Fuchs. Where's Morgan? One more season for me. Put him on the bench. Worst case scenario. But you've got Benkovic who's going to come back. And for me, looks a very, very talented young player. Again, he's going to be challenged for next season.
Liam, a lot of comments there. Most fans would get rid of Damari Gray. I don't want to turn this into a Damari Gray beating session, but Tom alluded to the fact about Champions League signing the summer. I'm more concerned about just getting in this Champions League with 9 games to go, Liam. It's there for us to mess up, which I hate being in that position as a Leicester fan.
Yeah, it is. It's our job to do, and we've got to go for it. And that's why I think we have got to go for it from Saturday onwards. We've got to pile into it and go for a game and try and take the game by the jugular and not sit back, not play too defensive. We may as well go for it. Again, I go back to the 5 subs. It gives us options within a game, but we've got to put out the best possible team on that first game and hit the ground running. When we hit the ground running at the start of the season, historically, we've always had a good run for a good 9, 10, 11 games. So we've got 9 games. So let's get going from game 1. And because we've got that quick turnover, we can afford to if we hit the ground running, it will slow down. If it slows down towards the end, then games are going to run out pretty quickly. So, and then we've got the FA Cup as well. So we've got options, haven't we?
Massive. I'd say you've got to count in the 3 games in the FA Cup if you get to the final. So, 10, 11, 12 games for a season. Look, the FA Cup is the magic of the FA Cup. We all have to say that. But this year,
I don't think the magic's there, Tom, this year.
It's going to be very strange if we got to a final. We can't take any fans into the ground. God, it would be Leicester, wouldn't it? It would be typical Leicester, good old Leicester, go and win the FA Cup with no fans, hey? That'd be the typical season.
Listen, I've watched Leicester for many years. I've seen us get to FA Cup semi-final once when I was a kid in '82. I'd love us to get to Wembley up until now, and I'd say it's gone for me now. I'd much rather focus on the Premier League, Liam, and I'd let the FA Cup go if it meant getting Champions League qualification. I really would.
I think again, if we start strongly, then we go into the FA Cup strong and we keep it on, because we don't want to lose that form because of an FA Cup game. I think we put out the strongest possible team within reason. I think that's where you are taking Vardy out and you put in Nacho in. You are making changes in the FA Cup games and resting players where possible. But yeah, it would be typical Leicester. We get to and win it with no one in the ground. It's got it written all over it. That's just a Leicester thing to do. But it gives us options. We've got some young lads in there that have been given an opportunity. Then why not give them a chance? If it's a one-off game, depending on who we get after Chelsea, then we might as well go for it.
Liam, before we let you go, and I'll finish off with Tom. Talk us through. We're pleased to sign up with you guys. I say sign up. We always live to give. We work with local businesses who help us do the Leicester Fan TV stuff, but we always like to work with one charity and just give as much publicity to guys as possible. We were doing it with Bodie Hodges. We worked with them for a good long time, but we're very, very pleased to welcome on board Memphis, who are a Leicester-based charity. Liam, can you just explain briefly to people who are watching what Memphis do and why we think it's a great tie-up?
So we're a disabled children's charity. We've been around 50 years. It was our 50th year this year, and we had lots of celebrations planned, but for obvious reasons, they are now, I think it's going to be 51 years celebration. We do activity clubs, we support, we do work experience and work opportunities for the 41,000 plus disabled children and young people in Leicester, Leicestershire and Rutland. As historically, we were the charity that if a family found out they were going to have a disabled child when they were born, we would go in and support from day one. As things have changed over the years, we now support from that start point through to 25. So a child can come in and work with us at the beginning, and we will work all the way through until they go and find employment. Hopefully, that's the ideal solution. We moved into the Bassett Centre in Wigston in January. We opened the doors. In there has got all of the facilities, sensory room. We have a sensory hairdresser comes every week and works with children there. We have clubs and activity clubs that come in the week, and we've also on site got a coffee shop which generates money for us. But we then take groups out to, we work with Caterpillar in Desford. We have a work experience group on there. And we're just, the idea of the charity is to try and have a positive impact on every one of those 41,000 plus children if we can. A lot of the stuff we've been doing in lockdown is sending out packed activity, educational packs for those families that are really struggling, food packages, and things to give parents respite and a chance to have a bit of a break when they can, but also stimulating the children. I worked at Dorothy Goodman School in Hinckley for 4 years, working with them, and brought Jamie Vardy and Becky Vardy as patron ambassador back in 2014. And they had a big impact on the kids. It was initially that when they came in was about boosting their aspirations. Christian Fuchs did a range through Note Fuchs Given. And I've just taken that into Memphis, and we're trying to get these kids opportunities. They've got dreams and aspirations like everybody else, and just because they've got a disability or an additional need, then they should be able to do what they want to do and try to do what they want to do. And that's what the charity is trying to enable, really.
And you said over 40,000 kids in Leicester at the moment.
There's over 41,000 children and young people with a disability of some description in Leicester, Leicestershire and Rutland. That's from autism, ADHD, Down syndrome, cerebral palsy, through to more physical disabilities. And because we work across the board, there's plenty of scope for us to work, to do wheelchair training. The on-site hairdresser enables parents to bring their kids in that have sensory disorders, and they're trained to cut hair for these kids, and it's giving them everything they can possibly need, but also in a situation and an environment that suits them. So we are at the minute just looking at putting an inclusive cinema into the centre. So from next year they'll be able to come and have a cinema show. They could put football on if we can get the rights and everything, but they can sit in an environment that suits them. I'm just speaking to the club at the moment about the possibility of, as things change, about whether there will be either in the extension or in the ground a sensory room put in for children that could go and enjoy the football, because they're starting to pop up in other clubs, and I think it would be great if we could see that in the club. So I'm working with those and the other sports clubs to bring those children and young people into the football and sporting environment as well. So it's great to be on board, and it broadens our reach and enables us to get more people on board, because we look at the things we're doing at the moment. It's cost us £39 a family to get food packages and educational and care packages out to these kids. Now it's tight at the moment for everybody, but we've seen it over this period that people are doing fundraisers, and if they raise a couple of £100, that's a couple of families that are supported through small donations. So it's massive.
Fantastic, Liam. We're dead chuffed to be working with you guys, and I'm just helping get out the fantastic work that you do. I can't believe it's over 41,000 kids or young people in Leicester are affected by all this, and that you guys help them out. And website is, Liam, for people who want to go and help and maybe donate?
It's memphis.org.uk, and everything's on there for Just Giving page and everything. But that's great. Thanks, Phil. We are great. We appreciate being on board, and we're looking forward to it.
Well, we welcome you guys on board, and we'll keep tagging and hashtagging you in and all sorts, and getting people out there so every Leicester fan knows Memphis UK by the time we finish working with you. Liam, thanks for joining us tonight.
Brilliant. Thanks, gents. Appreciate it. Take care.
We'll see you soon. I'll let Liam go. Thank you so much. Tom, that just leaves me and you to finish up and wrap up the show. Have you seen, Tom? Look, you're going to like this. Have you seen this that we're giving away?
Oh, are you sending that to me in the post, yeah?
Look at that.
That's just amazing.
Do you know these are the pies you get in the King Power Stadium?
Oh, they are tasty. I'm not looking. I've had one before. They are very good. Do
you want me to speak to Piglet's Pantry and get you a box sent?
I think you might have to, mate.
We're giving one away, and let me see if I can sort you one out, Tom. Am I going to eat all 6 in one sitting? That's the question.
Is that my challenge live on Facebook?
God, I think they're nice, but I don't think I could do 6. I tell you, my lads, I've got 2 teenage lads, and they won't leave them alone. I'm like, let them be, lads. Tom, are you looking forward to Saturday anyway?
Oh, mate, I think it's just relief. I know we're starting to go back to normality, but normality is a very long away. You know, when you think about shopping won't be the same for 18 months the same, maybe 12 months. Football is, you know, it's nice to have something to look forward to. It's been a long time waiting for this to happen. Yes, it's not normal, and we won't be in the ground, but at least we're watching our team again. And do you know what? The players know how much we, you know, support them, and hopefully that will just spur them on to the edge. Pie. Phil's pie challenge.
Hey, Ross, enter the competition, and you can have them as well, Ross, mate. Tom, you're starting your show finally on Wednesday.
Well, now we're in the man cave. People don't know this is the man cave. There's a few bits of melon beer. Hang on, Phil. Let's do a little.
You do a tour of the Fox's Tail, which is going to be hosting.
So we've got
Wednesday night shows.
Bar.
Nice.
Got Sky.
Got your TV.
We're all done. We're all ready. So yeah, Wednesday night it's going to be Fox's Tales.
He's lost the camera work now. This camera guy you've hired in, Tom, is shocking.
But
who we got on Wednesday night?
Steve Linex.
You know, we said you've got to just save. You've got to shave this off, Tom, and just have that there.
Exactly, just for him.
You've got to have a Steve Linex.
Steve Larnack's a legend of the penalties for us, as I was briefly told by Jamie yesterday.
The what, sorry?
Legend of the penalties.
Penalties, and also Carl Muggleton told us last week, and I do remember this. He says his biggest memory of Steve Lynex was watching him swim on the wing in the rain in puddles.
Yes, against Southampton. I've been informed by the Stato Jamie. Yeah, I think Jamie might be on with us as well.
Fantastic.
So yeah, it should be a good show, and looking forward to it.
Brilliant. Thanks, Tom. We'll see you then.
Guys.
Cheers. Letting Tom go. Thank you for Tom. Thanks for everybody who's been watching. Somebody on the Facebook group says, Tom, where's your optics? I do like Ross's pie challenge. Don't forget, if you want to eat these pies, here's a proper look at them again. If you want to win these pies, a whole box full. I nearly dropped them. Can't drop the pies. Oh my God. From Piglet's Pantry. They're there. We've also got a case of beer from the guys at Eat Me. There's loads of freebies this week. Everybody's getting so excited. Chappers, hope you're well. Chappers has told us he's hurt his foot and he's in hospital tonight. So Lee Chapman, with you in mind, I'm going to get on the hope you're well, Lee, and I'm going to put the socials on just as a thank you. Don't forget to follow us at Leicester Fan TV, wherever you're watching, or subscribe. Thanks to all these guys. Obviously, Memphis is down there. There's Memphis. But thanks to all the other guys who help sponsor us and help us get the tech and do stuff for you. We run on a shoestring here. So if anybody does run a business and wants to get involved, please do get involved. Thanks to Liam from Memphis for joining us tonight. Mostly thanks for all your views and comments. We couldn't do this without your show. It's nearly back.